she went to church all the time. My dad hardly ever went. But anyways, they got a connection there, and then they wanted to sell that house on where they're living now.
The wood house.
Yeah.
The crooked house. I call that the crooked house.
They wanted to sell that house.
The homestead. It seems like the homestead now because they've been there so many years.
Yeah, well, anyway, that's how they got that place.
That's how they got that place?
Yeah.
Because I always thought it was so funny that you walk into the house and that door is right there in the front door, but you open the door, you step.
Than I do.
You step. That's the steps up to the second floor.
Yeah.
It's behind that door, behind the front door.
Yeah.
That always cracked me up that staircase is behind a door.
Behind the
Yeah, it's not out in the open. It's behind a door. It's like a hidden passageway.
And you shut the door.
It's like a hidden passageway up to the top of the house.
More of it than I do.
Oh yeah, but it's because we stayed there a couple of times. So Debbie and I had it. Yeah. So yeah, that was always struck me as funny because we went at that to Uncle Johnny when he was younger. I went to go over there and record off on his cassette player. He had one of those. He had a better cassette player than anybody else.
Yeah.
And he had rock albums. This is when I was really young.
Yeah.
And I would go up there and record onto the cassettes, so I could have some of his music.
Yeah.
You know, I remember he had Steve Miller Band, Rolling Stones, bands like that. He had that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
we were too young to have records yet. You know, or we weren't buying them yet. Of course, that's all changed. Yeah, we can come up, buying our records like crazy. But anyway, that's how I remember that going upstairs up there.
Yeah.
Because his room was upstairs in the front. That window that's in the front, that was where we went to record his albums and stuff were up there. So I remember that.
Huh. Yeah, I don't remember.
So you didn't know there was a stairway over there, huh, Dad? That goes upstairs?
Yeah.
That's where the stairway was, behind that door. That when you walk into the house, that door that's right there, the stairway's up to the top. So anyway, there you're talking about them living in a house on Main, and then you were talking about a house that they lived on over on. I wish I could know those streets.
I can't remember the street either.
Yeah, but that's up the street from where the house is now.
Yeah.
That's the one I remember the most. But you said that the guy that lived there next door and Grandpa became fast friends because he could speak Spanish.
Yeah. He's a game warden. He was a game warden, and they got to be good friends. And my dad and him had talked back there and over the fence quite a bit.
Something like Home Improvement.
Yeah. Anyway, his name was Bud Hurd. He's game warden for I don't know how many acres he covered, fishing game. Anyway, he went down to Juarez, Mexico, across the border from El Paso, one year, and he happened to talk to this rebel rouser that had an army down there in Mexico by the name of Pancho Villa, and they got to talking, and
This was the wife of Pancho Villa.
The wife, yeah.
He meant the wife of Pancho Villa.
Yeah. Anyway,
Pancho Villa was already gone by then.
Yeah, he's the bandit. He was a bandit. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, they got to talking, and Bud mentioned my dad joined up with Pancho Villa when Mexico had a revolution down there, and he rounded up some guys and had an army going down there to help the revolution, get involved with the revolution, to kick the guy out that was in control of Mexico at that time. And anyway, when he went to Durango, Mexico, where my dad and his uncle and all the family lived in that town, in that area, Well, they joined up with Pancho Villa when he went down to Mexico City or wherever were having the revolution, and fought with them. But they didn't win the war, and the Pancho Villa went back up to Juarez, Mexico. And anyway, his wife that Bud Hurd was talking to, she wrote my dad a letter thanking him for his service with Pancho Villa at that time. Yeah.
Wow.
So when Bud Hurd come back and they got to talking again, Bud Hurd told my dad about her talking to her, and then he had to let her and give it to my dad. And I don't know whatever happened to the letter.
Man.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
And that revolution, when they lost, if you lose a revolution, the winners go around killing
The loser.
the enemy, the losers. The winners go after the losers, and that's the reason my dad and his uncle came to the United States. They had to get out of Mexico real fast.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm thinking it had to be around the early 20s. Yeah, it had to be around
20s.
the early 20s sometime.
Yeah.
And anyway, they had to come to United States to save their life.
Right.
And they ended up in Oregon working for the Union Pacific Railroad as gandy dancers. Same occupation I had years back. Anyway, they worked their way up to, as far as I remember the story, they worked their way to Kansas City, and from Kansas City they somehow come to Colorado, and my dad started working in the mines in Colorado in the 20s, late 20s sometime. So anyway, he ended up in Mount Harris, Colorado, and my mother was born in Pueblo, Colorado, because her folks came to the United States. I don't know when they came to the United States, but they lived in Pueblo for I don't know how long. Anyway, my grandpa was in Mount Harris at the time that my dad come to Mount Harris already. So so that's the way my mother and him got hooked up when my dad moved to Mount Harris in the late 20s.
He moved to Mount Harris, but yet she was in Pueblo?
Yet my mother was born in Pueblo.
Well, she was born in Pueblo, but did she move up to northwestern Colorado or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
My grandpa ended up going to Mount Harris to working in the mine.
Right.
Yeah, he worked in the mine too.
Okay.
At that time, when my dad showed up in Mount Harris.
Right.
And that's where they met and got married.
Yep, and then the rest is history, as they might say.
Yeah.
And what year did Mount Harris start?
You what?
What year did they open Mount Harris?
I have no idea. It's late 1900s or... I know the latest pictures I've got of it is the early 20s.
Right.
But I'm sure it was open sooner than that.
Right.
But I really don't know for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I wonder when it opened. It probably was on that thing, we just don't remember it. You know, that information board that's a marker now there at Mount Harris. It probably said there when they opened it, but I don't remember.
Probably, yeah.
I don't remember what it said.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. Last time I seen that thing. That was when Jim was still alive, and we went to Steamboat for a family reunion. And so it had to be 2002. I think we went up there and went and that's when I videotaped you guys talking about Mount Harris and stuff, and Jim was asking questions.
Yeah.
that was that whole thing. That's I think that was 2002 when we were up there. So that's the last time I seen that marker. So
yeah.
We're gonna have to figure out when Mount Harris was.
So that's all Johnny's stuff there.
Yeah, Mount Harris,
you have
man.
to get that. Yeah.
Mount Harris, what a deal. So anyway, that's how they ended up in Mount Harris, and that's how he ended up with Grandma.
Yeah.
So, wow, I never knew that. I never knew that story. I wonder how many others didn't know that story either. Pancho Villa.
Pancho Villa, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So Pancho Villa's wife wrote him a letter, man.
Yeah, wrote him a letter.
I wonder where that letter is now.
It's probably long.
Oh man. Some more stuff that should be hung on the wall.
Yeah. That should have been framed.
That should have been framed, man.
Yeah.
Dang.
Anyway, his uncle ended up going to California, and he opened. I don't know when he opened a restaurant business. He had a restaurant business for years, and I know he's passed away. So whether he has a family out there or not, I know a cousin of somebody that lived in California or connected with the Senas would come and maybe once or twice a year to Mount Harris to visit with my dad. And
oh, really?
I don't remember his name.
He came to Mount Harris and visited Dad out there, Grandpa?
Huh?
He came to Mount Harris and visited Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He was related somewhere or another.
Right.
Yeah.
I suppose he spoke Mexican.
Yeah. Yeah, that's as far as I know about that side of the family when he moved to California. Whenever he opened his restaurant business, yeah.
So there's a story about Grandpa, Pancho Villa, and of course there's another story about when they had to leave Mount Harris because the mine closed in '58.
That's when they,
and had to move to Steamboat. And the first place they lived in Steamboat was on Main Street.
Yeah. Right as you go on the west end of Steamboat, there's park there, City Park, and the next block over, about 2-3 houses coming into Steamboat, they rented a house there. Right
so that's the park where the sulfur is?
Yeah, where Bud Warner Library is.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
that's that park there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they moved into a house on that street behind the library?
Yeah, right. Right.
That street right next over.
To it. Yeah.
Right, where that motel is, on that corner?
Across the street.
Across the street? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now I know where that's at.
Yeah.
Then the second house, the one I remember vividly, for some reason, I don't know why I remember this so well, was the one that was going up past the house that everybody knows now.
Yeah.
That is where Jenny and them are at. The house was past that house, around the corner, right up there. It's not that far away from where the other house is.
Yeah.
That one had rock pillars and a big porch. I remember the big cement porch in front.
Yeah. Front porch.
And big trees, and it was always shaded. I remember that.
Yeah.
But that house that's what I remember that house the most. And that's the house you said your dad
and Bud Hurd
neighbor were neighbors. So that's the house they were neighbors.
Yeah. And
then they moved. They were renting that house.
To the one that they own on.
And then they moved to the house that
they have
Johnny has.
Yeah.
Or Johnny.
He bought that house.
Yeah. Where the girls and everybody. That's a house where we, congregated.
Yeah.
Had all the reunions. Started reunions there, and then ended up at Rosa's, and yeah.
Right.
That's how that all worked out. So that house is the most famous house, but there's two other houses that most of the family doesn't even know about.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, man. Crazy stuff. And I'm down to 1 bar on my camera, so we gotta stop. I'm running out of power, Dad.
Yeah.
We gotta charge up.
Yeah, man. You need to charge it once in a while.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Little
Okay.
indicator says charge.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time.